Let's find the intercepts of an equation. To find the intercepts of an equation, we let the other variable equal 0. So let's start by finding the y-intercept for this equation. We're going to let x be equal to 0. So I'm going to take the equation that I've been given, and I'm going to plug in 0 instead of x. So this tells me that y is equal to -1. So that means that my y-intercept is going to be 0 for x and -1 for y. When we write our intercepts, we always write them in ordered pair form because they represent a point on our graph. To find the x-intercept, we will let y equal 0. So I'll have 0 equals 2x minus 1. And now I'm going to solve for x, meaning get x by itself on one side and have numbers on the other side. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides here. So 2x is equal to 1. And then I'll divide both sides by 2. So it looks like we're getting x is equal to 1/2. So our x-intercept is going to be 1/2 for x and 0 for y. All right, in our next example, we'll do the same thing. Let's start by finding our y-intercept. So we'll let x equal 0. Y is -3 times 0 minus 4, which looks like -4. So our y-intercept here will be 0, -4. For our x-intercept, we'll let y equal 0, and we'll solve for x. I'm starting by adding 4 to both sides. And then I'll divide both sides by -3. So it looks like I'm getting -4/3 is equal to x. So my x-intercept is -4/3, comma 0. Our last example is a little bit more complicated because we've got something squared, but we can still follow the same process. To find the y-intercept, I'll plug in 0 for x. So our y-intercept is 0, -4. This example is one that we graphed a little bit ago, and we did see on the graph that that was in fact our y-intercept. Now, the x-intercept is a little more tricky for this one because I'll let y equal 0. Oops. Yeah. And then when I go to solve for x, I'll add 4 to both sides. So I'm getting that 4 is equal to x squared. And what happens here is that we have to take the square root of both sides to get that x to not be squared anymore. And the square root principle, which we'll talk about in some of our next lessons, tells us that when we take the square root of something, we have two options. We've got a plus or a minus. And so 2 is one of our answers, but -2 is also an answer. Oops. So in this case, we actually end up with two x-intercepts. We have 2, 0, and we also have negative 2, 0. The graph of this function looks like this. And that 0, negative 4, which is our y-intercept, is down here. And then over on the sides here, we've got 2, 0, and negative 2, 0. So the intercepts can be really useful for us to kind of get a general structure for a graph.